Now that you're up to speed with data binding, let's talk about how to control your Rive files using code. Here I have a button made by Dmitry Novikov, who also works at Rive. It's set up using layouts. So no matter what I set the text run to, the size of the button will dynamically change. However, what I want to do is embed this button on a web page and be able to change this text in code. How do I do that? Well, first of all, highlight your artboard and then go up here and create a new view model. Then go to our data panel and then create a new string property for your view model. I'm going to call this string property text. Over here you can see it has an initial value of initial value. So when I go back into my hierarchy list and go to my text run, I can right click, data bind, and then take in that text string property. And when we press play, there it is. And it works just like before. And of course, if I go into my data panel again and highlight the text string property, I can change this to whatever I want. This is the property that we are going to be controlling in code. One last thing before we export this file is highlight your view model and go over here and click on the box that says Export Instance. This allows us to access and control the properties contained within our view model. So the final step is to go up here and click Export, Export for Runtime. I'm using early access, so I need to click I like to live dangerously. And I'm going to save my .riv in a folder with an HTML file. Then, of course, click Save. Now that we've exported our file, we can load up our IDE. I'm using VS Code, and let me take you through some of what is going on here. Just up here, we have our CSS, which is just handling the styling of the page and the position of our element. On line 28, we're loading in the Rive runtime. And down in the body, we have a script, and inside the script we have a variable called R, into which we've loaded a Rive object. Now, you need to make sure that the file name matches your file name. You also need to make sure that your artboard name matches the one in your file, and you need to make sure that your state machine name matches correctly as well. Mine all match correctly, which is why over here we can see my button, and I can interact with it just like I could in the Rive editor. However, you'll notice that vector feathering is not activated. Why is this? Well, by default, GPT has given me the latest version of the Canvas runtime, and vector feathering does not work in this runtime. We need to type in web gl2 and reload the page, and now vector feathering works. Next up, you may have noticed that the button says button and not initial value. This is because data binding hasn't actually been switched on. So go down to autoplay true and create a new line underneath and type in auto bind with a capital B, colon, space, true, comma. And as you can see, this has activated data binding. The question remains, how do we control this text? Well, we can do it in 2 lines of code. Where it says onload, create a new line underneath, and then create a new variable for our view model instance. So I'm going to say const VMI for view model instance equals r.viewModelInstance. Now, what does this line of code do? Well, r is our Rive object. And by saying r.viewModelInstance, we're basically reaching into our Rive object and retrieving the instance that we exported earlier. We are then loading this instance into our new variable called VMI. And now that we've done this, it means that we can control any property contained within this variable. So on a new line, I can say VMI.string, because this is the property type that we are trying to control, brackets, apostrophes, and in here, type in the name of your string property. In my Rive file, I called it text. So I'll type in text, and then we're going to set the value, apostrophes, hello. So now we're able to control the text on this button in code. And of course, these same concepts apply whether you're using Rive in your app, website, AI avatar, or even full game UI.